Mark, why don't you recap the first part of this big gang war event?
We open 6 hours after first strike, and New York City is under siege. A couple is trying to duck the carnage when the ringmaster appears before them and uses his hypnotic hat to brainwash them into grabbing weapons and joining his army. We reveal that the ringmaster's gang is opening fire on the crime master and AIM. Crime master doesn't understand why his gun doesn't shoot bullets, and the AIM drone tells him it's an Imagine Ray, and he has to think what he has to shoot. And that Imagine Rays don't do bullets. Yeah, I hate when that happens too. Finally, Spider-Man and his army, She-Hulk, Miles Morales, Elektra, and Spider-Woman show up to the scene. She-Hulk is instructed to go tank, and when the gang's out, the guns are out? That didn't really work. Anyway, She-Hulk is swinging, and Spider-Man warns his teammates to be careful with civilians, but Elektra is already moving fast to take down AIM, and gentle is off the menu. Miles gets out his Venom Saber, and now I know what that means, so you can stop rubbing it in, Marvel and Dan, okay? I get it. He's got a sword now. Cool. Anyway, Ringmaster tries to hypnotize Elektra, and even I know that's an idiotic move, so Elektra takes him out while Spider-Man and Spider-Woman neutralize Crime Master. Afterwards, Spidey calls it in to Mayor Cage, who informs him that things are busy down at Gracie Mansion, so the gang splits up. Elektra goes to Hell's Kitchen. Spider-Woman heads off downtown to take out Diamondback and Hydra. Miles goes to Brooklyn to take on the Hobgoblin, and that leaves Spider-Man to team up with the other person who doesn't have a tie-in book, She-Hulk. That brings us over to Harlem, where Black Mariah is looking to take out White Rabbit and Kareem, oh sweet Kareem, but not before Janice Lincoln shows up in costume with some members of her sinister syndicate. Janice picks Mariah up and drops her from a considerable height, but doesn't kill her. And speaking of that, how did they survive that club? Robbie is sitting by Randy Robertson's side and lets him know that he has to fight back. If not for him, then for his mother, who has been conveniently off page for her entire existence. I did not write that. Dan did. Good job, Dan. A voice from the other side of the curtain speaks up, and Tombstone is alive and kicking. Robbie goes hard after his old nemesis, asking why the dirtbags always end up okay in situations like this, before the two reference some old Spider-Man stories to each other, those old Jerry Conway stories. But Robbie doesn't have time for that and fills Tombstone in on what's going down and reminds Tombstone that he is going to need some pants. Robbie tells him to get his own damn pants, and yeah, I hate it when that happens too. Anyway, before we resolve Pantsgate, we're back to Spider-Man and She-Hulk, and they're taking on the Monster Metropolis in Murray Hill. And yeah, I have no idea who these characters are, Dan. Sorry, you can't shame me about this one, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Are these like... whatever. Peter and Jen argue about whether or not Spidey is standing behind her before they start throwing hands or tentacles or whatever the appendages in question happen to be. Meanwhile, Shotgun is watching from a rooftop when a voice comes over the intercom letting him know to let the heroes tire themselves out because he's needed in Midtown. Back in Harlem, Janice is strategizing with White Rabbit and wants to take over Sugar Hill, which is Diamondback territory. White Rabbit warns her that Diamondback is an old ally of her father's, and just after Janice shrugs her shoulders, Tombstone shows up and the two share a moment. Janice fills her father in on the gang war and lets him know that she wants all of Harlem. He tells her that's too big an area to defend and to back down, but she stands up to him and asks him that if she goes against his wishes, is he gonna put down his own daughter like he does all his other opposition? Well, Tombstone says no, so that sets Janice off, and he tells White Rabbit to take care of her. Meanwhile, Madame Mask, in full mask, is still hanging out with Hammerhead's very bloody but not quite dead body. He's only mostly dead. She drags Hammerhead around a bit, long enough for him to remind her that he's a made man and that people will come after her. Mask is unfazed and drags him to the sub-basement with what appears to be Silvermane and Count Nefaria. And that brings us back over to Spidey and She-Hulk, who are calling it in to Mayor Cage that Murray Hill has been neutralized. The two keep bickering, but Tombstone spoils the party, saying he's not here to make trouble, he just wants to team up with Spider-Man again, to take down some crime bosses. And that is Amazing Spider-Man number 39, Dan. Let's talk about it.